G'day. 2025 Formula One, I think, is going to be an absolute ripper. We were spoiled in 2024, plenty of things going on, but I think this year there are so many stories to look forward to, starting off with Lewis Hamilton. We'll get to see him in Ferrari red. Now, we've known about this move for just shy of 1 year. Will he be coming in fashionable gear each day, or will Ferrari make him dress in team kit? I'm going to bet that he's going to be coming in his own fashion gear. It's an integral part of Lewis Hamilton, and I'd be very sad if Lewis didn't come in dressed up to the nines. Will he be doing silly stunts like Carlos did with Charles? I don't think so. I can't see him doing anything like this or this. But perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps he'll loosen up a little bit and play the team game. Will he be faster than he was at Mercedes? I think yes. Will he be faster than Charles? I don't know. I'm very keen to see. And what about the dynamic between Charles and Lewis? How will Charles go playing second fiddle to the 7-time world champion? And let's not be in any doubt, Lewis is huge for Ferrari marketing. But will Lewis's results be huge for him? And remember, the battle between Charles and Lewis plays out on a world stage. So if there is any drama, everybody gets to witness it. On the team side of things, can Ferrari step up and take a world championship? And if they do manage that feat, it will be the first time in 17 years. Let's look now at Red Bull. Of course, they've had some dramas, plenty of them in 2024. They lost Sergio Perez, but they gained Liam Lawson. Will Liam get more than 6 months if he's not up to speed? Red Bull expects a lot of their drivers, and if they don't shape up early, he could go the same way as Pierre and Alex Albon. Will he be there to win races? I don't think so. I think there's no doubt his role will be to support Max, especially in the first half of the season, and get a feel for the car. But there'll be plenty going on at Red Bull, and there'll be plenty of eager eyes paying close attention. Red Bull drops from first to third in the paddock, despite the fact that Max won the World Drivers' Championship. He's still strong, but the Horner saga, I think, still lingers. Yes, they've lost Jonathan Wheatley, Adrian Newey, and some others. Maybe they'll be a bit unsettled. Certainly, they'll be worried about losing Max Verstappen if they're not quick. His power this year will be bigger than ever before. Oh, and if you're wondering, this is my 2024 Best of Small book. This is a mini coffee table book, 24 hard pages with a whole host of picks from the season. But this is the book you really want. This is 100 pages, all hard pages. It weighs 4 kilograms. In fact, it's hard work for me to hold up. Or if that's not in your price bracket, get a wall calendar 2025. Head to kimellman.com right now for any of these three. We've got Kimi Antonelli taking Lewis Hamilton's seat. And of course, Kimi is a big favourite of Toto's. So certainly he'll get a lot longer to settle in than, say, he would have if he'd gone to Red Bull. But what about George Russell? George was the underdog for a couple of years. And then, of course, this year he proved to be very much the performer. In 2025, he's going to have a young pup snapping at his heels. And that, once again, is going to be another power dynamic to keep your eye on. Things are a bit calmer back at McLaren, and Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri will be going hard at it, and Lando is actually the favourite to win the Drivers' Championship in 2025. And I don't think there'll be a better year for this driver than 2025 because, of course, 2026 sees complete regulation changes, and who knows what impact that's going to have on McLaren. So I think 2025 is Lando's best shot ever. I'll go out on a limb on that. But I think it'll be a lot closer between Oscar and Lando this year. Oscar's got 2 years now under his belt, but he does change trainer, although I don't think that would have much of an impact on his on-track performance. Lando and Oscar work well together in the second part of the year, but if we see Oscar and Lando very, very close in times, I wonder whether that dynamic will change dramatically as the year goes on. McLaren as a team performed magnificently in the second half of 24, and in 2025 they are the favourites to take out the Constructors' Championship. Over at Aston Martin, they've got Adrian Newey joining them, although I wouldn't expect to see any dramatic changes to the car until 2026. Of course, we have Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in the drivers' seats. Lance, he clearly doesn't love the game, and I think a lot of what he goes through is for his father. Perhaps his dad's living vicariously through Lance. But it is good to see the car has improved in the latter part of the season. That'll give some hope for Fernando Alonso. Alpine retains Pierre Gasly, and he had a very good end to his season. But we have a newcomer in Jack Doohan, who's already had one race. that Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, a bit of a sighter. But according to a number of reports, Jack is going to have to come out bouncing. He's going to have to put pressure on Pierre Gasly early in the season, otherwise Flavio Briatore could well wield the knife again and bring his career to a premature end. I hope that doesn't happen for the Australian, but of course you've got the likes of Franco Colapinto standing in the wings, along with a handful of other drivers, very keen to get a seat. Let's bounce to Williams now, and some exciting goings on there with Carlos Sainz stepping into the seat vacated by Franco Colapinto. Now, Alex Albon is going to be under a lot of pressure, no doubt. He's had it pretty easy with Logan Sargent and to perhaps slightly lesser degree Franco. But with Carlos next to him, he's going to be facing plenty of pressure at the back of the grid. Certainly the team doesn't expect too much in 2025. They've thrown all of their eggs into the 2026 basket. But I think they can rely on Carlos Sainz not to crash the car as much as Logan or Franco did in 2024. Now, will we see much of Carlos? Probably not. Why? Because Williams is down the far end of the paddock, and most of the media, photographers, TV networks, etc. hang around down the top four teams. We'll see a bit of him, but we certainly won't see as much as we've seen him in red. How will he handle that? I think he'll probably be grateful for less scrutiny. He'll be just left pretty much to do his job at Williams. Not far from the Williams garage, you'll find VCarb or Racing Bulls this year. Interesting with Yuki Tsunoda not getting the gig at Red Bull. I think he's going to be fairly dark about that, and he'll be trying his darndest to impress, because obviously if there's a slip-up with Liam, he knows he's probably on the cards for the call-up. Yuki needs to dominate Isack Hadjar. He's one of 3 rookies who have never driven in a Formula One race who'll take to the grid next year. Yuki might even be looking to go to Aston Martin in 26 if they take a Honda engine. Honda will certainly be pushing for him. And by that point, he'll be well done with having been looked over for that position. Now, I don't know much about Isack Hadjar, only spoken to him a couple of times and for just a few moments. So his entry into Formula One will be of great interest for the whole F1 community. The Hulk goes from Haas to Sauber in 2025. Now, he was at the end of the paddock in 2024 with Haas, but he stays there because Haas bounced up. But he goes to the end of the paddock again with Sauber, but will be focused on 2026 when Audi enters the fray and throws their considerable might about. His teammate is Gabriel Bortoleto. Comes with big raps. He's enthusiastic, fun, and managed by Fernando Alonso's management company, but he'll be working rather closely with Fernando's manager, Alberto Fernandez, who's been with Fernando Alonso for as long as I can remember. But pointing out the obvious here, what will happen if Fernando and Gabriel are battling on track and it gets close and there's an incident? How would that be if essentially your manager is racing you? How would that play out? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think he and Nico Hulkenberg will be a great team. You've got Gabriel's youth and enthusiasm, along with Nico Hulkenberg's experience and calm nature. Oh, and then you've got the added story of Mattia Binotto coming in, running the show, and Jonathan Wheatley as the team principal. Now, I've tried to find out whether or not Jonathan Wheatley goes there at the start of the season, but I've not been able to get an answer yet. I read somewhere that he had to do some gardening leave and as such wouldn't join the team as a team principal until midway through the year. Haas have 2 new drivers in Esteban Ocon and Oliver Bearman. Now, Ollie will be pretty happy that the Haas car is on the improve. He's already had 3 races in Formula One, as you'll remember last year, Saudi, and then 2 stepping in for Kevin Magnussen at Haas. So he's got a bit of a step up on the other 3 absolute rookies. Esteban drops back a spot in pit lane, but could be a surprise package with a new teammate and a fresh start. And I think Haas's surprise results of 2024 will stand the team in good stead for 2025. Now on to other things we're looking forward to in 2025. Drive to Survive returns for season number 7, and that will premiere, as usual, over the Bahrain testing period. I'm very keen to see how they treat Daniel Ricciardo, because they were in the garage late the night in Singapore when Daniel left. Lando went down to catch up with him. I wasn't allowed into the back there, but I did see their microphone floating about, so I think we'll get some very valuable insight into how those two treated the departure of Daniel. Other stories that they'll be running with: Sergio Perez's departure and the pressure on him, Lewis's battles with George and the team in 24, Logan Sargent's sacking and the rise of Franco Colapinto in the popularity stakes, Oliver Bearman's last-minute call-up in Saudi, Lando Norris handing Max Verstappen the championship in Brazil, and Kimi Antonelli's crash in Monza. But on an even bigger scale, we've got the F1 movie launch to look forward to. That is planned around the Austrian Grand Prix time, end of June. Look, I can't wait. I think this movie will be marvellous for the sport. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, no, we don't want it, because it's going to bring more people to the fold. There is no doubt that tickets will be harder to get. More people want to go and see this sport that they've seen in a movie. I'm excited by it. This year, the opening race of the season is not in Bahrain. Instead, we're going back to Australia, my country, just a mere 3.5-hour flight. From here, Melbourne sees the opening race. It's 2 weeks later than the opening race of last year. Testing is still in Bahrain, all of 3 days, and then we come back and have I think about 10 days off before that first race. And I'll be looking forward to the drivers' portrait pics. Now, we've missed them in 21, 2, 3 and 4. For some reason, they weren't done in Bahrain. But yes, all the drivers will be showing up at the spot in the Melbourne paddock to get their photos taken and a photo of their helmet. Ramadan in March means that the Bahrain and Saudi races are pushed back. They go to April. Also in April, we have the cherry blossoms in Japan, and those early Middle Eastern races are on Sunday, not on Saturday. That leaves Vegas as the only Saturday race in 2025. But we do have 3 standalone races at the end of the year: Azerbaijan, Singapore, which is great for me because it's close to Australia, but lousy for those people in Europe, and the third one is Brazil. And on the subject of the calendar, expect about a quarter of the way through, or maybe a third of the way through the year, to get the calendar for 2026. And I'll be very keen to see whether Africa gets a berth. You've got Kigali in Rwanda interested, and you've got Kyalami in South Africa, both putting their hands up. Oh, and another thing for 2026, looking forward to Canada being around the same time as Miami, so we don't have to fly from Europe to Canada and come back. That's a good move on the part of F1, and further fine-tuning of the calendar is on the cards. So if we have a look at this photo from the end of 2024, these 4 drivers will not be on the grid in 25. Sergio, Valtteri, Zhou and Franco. Although Franco and Valtteri will be reserve drivers, and of course it's not out of the question that somebody gets sick and they do enter the car for a race or 2. And we haven't yet heard if Zhou's landed a reserve driver gig. So in short, 3 rookie drivers fronting up in Melbourne, 2 others with a total of just 4 races under their belt. We could see some very interesting incidents on track in the early part of the year. If you're looking forward to 2025 as much as I am, I do trust that you are subscribed to my channel. I'll be putting out plenty of content again this year, and you're invited to like this video by clicking the like button. And for my best of coffee table book or monster special edition book or my 2025 wall calendar, head to kimelman.com now. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Oh, 2024 wall calendar.